What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, the longest reigning champion in the sport of boxing, superstar, featherweight, WBC world champion, Mr. Gary Russell Jr., finally responds to undefeated WBC lightweight world champion superstar boxer Devin the Dream Haney and his outing against former two-time world champion superstar boxer URIORKis Gamboa that took place this Saturday night in Miami, Florida. With that said, Mr. Gary Russell Jr., everybody was waiting for Gary Russell Jr. To respond to Devin Haney, because prior to this, they seemed to be in negotiations, Gary Russell Jr. and Devin Haney. I don't want to say seemed to. They were in negotiations. So this fight was supposed to be Gary Russell and Devin Haney. Gary Russell stated that they sent him over a term sheet that was in the form of a contract, in which he said that the wording in there was misleading. He said the wording in there, was deceiving, and it was one-sided, right? He said the wording was tipped to favor Devin Haney, Bill Haney, his father, manager, and trainer, and Matchroom CEO and promoter, who's the co-promoter with Devin Haney, Eddie Hearn, and the platform that they fight on, DAZN. So Gary Russell said that he wasn't gonna, he just didn't have time, to go back and forth because his father is ill. His father is his trainer, and obviously it's his father. So he said his father was ill, so he just kind of fell off, the radar for a little while. And Bill Haney, father, trainer, and manager of Devin Haney, whom I had on the show. I had Gary Russell on the show. I had Gary Russell's brother, Batman, on the show. I had Bill Haney and Devin Haney on the show. And his trainer, Mickey Bay, as well. So everything kind of fell off the radar. They fell out. They didn't get the fight over the hump. And so we got YURIORKis Gamboa, who was playing B for Devin Haney. A lot of people will tell you that he was playing A. If you listen to Gary Russell says that Floyd Mayweather told Bill Haney, Devin Haney, and Team Haney not to take the fight because it was too high of a risk. It was too much of a threat on the part of Gary Russell. So they, was always dealing with YURIORKis Gamboa. Now, they were negotiating with Gamboa before Gary Russell came on the scene and started making waves, and then they made Gary Russell plan A, according to Devin Haney, Bill Haney, and Team Haney. Gary Russell became plan A with a fallback plan of YURIORKis Gamboa as plan B. Things didn't work out. So a lot of people are very, very, they are critiquing Devin Haney's performance. I personally rewatched the fight myself last night, oddly enough, before Gary came on, and I thought that Devin Haney looked great in the fight with a guy that was there to survive, who was a veteran, who, once again, I'll tell everybody that listens, Gervonta Tank Davis, undefeated two-division world champion, four-time world champion, and he simultaneously holds the WBA at 130 and 135, is an explosive, ferocious power puncher who's looking to absolutely demolish you in there. That's why he's nicknamed Baby Mike Tyson. And YURIORKis Gamboa, in the second or third round in their fight, he popped his Achilles. That's the worst injury an athlete could suffer, because it, hinders your lateral movement, your quick twitch muscles in your legs, and your change of direction is gone. And that's what you rely on, especially in the sport of boxing or any, sport like basketball or certain positions in the NFL, a cornerback, wide receiver, running back, because it hinders your lateral movement. It hinders your, change of direction movement, so it just hinders you, especially in the sport of boxing, where you need to get out of the way if somebody is trying to do harm to you. So it hinders you, but he was able to survive. If he popped it in the third round or the second round, I'm not sure. He went 10 or 9 rounds, 9 to 10 rounds still with Gervonta Tank Davis, and nearly survived in the 12th round before he was knocked out. He went 10 rounds with Terrence Crawford at the height of Terrence Crawford's career, okay? And he didn't have an injury, no, but he survived with Terrence Crawford, even though Terrence Crawford had dropped him a few times and seamlessly hurt him. But he hurt Terrence Crawford. So let's not act like YURIORKIS Gamboa is a walk in the park and don't know how to survive. With that said, Devin Haney just turned 20. Well, he's 21. He'll be 22 in a few weeks. So he's young. You understand? Let's keep this in mind. When Terrence Crawford fought YURIORKIS Gamboa, he was over 25. When Gervonta Tank Davis just fought YURIORKIS Gamboa, he's going on 26. Devin Haney is just going on 22 years of age, and he's fighting a vet like YURIORKIS Gamboa. And he won every single round against YURIORKIS Gamboa, where Gamboa had success against Tank Davis and success against Terrence Crawford. Let's keep that in mind. And this is he's still not even garnered his man strength yet. We're talking about two athletes that are very vicious, very explosive, and look to get you out of there, right? Have a mean streak in Terrence Crawford and Gervonta Tank Davis. And yet he went 10 and 12 rounds, one with an injury and one when he came up in weight. He still survived into the later rounds. So it's not out of the realm for him to go 12 rounds with Devin Haney, who's not a ferocious power puncher like they are. So let's keep that in mind when we're describing YURIORKIS Gamboa and Devin Haney. With that said, let's listen to what Gary Russell had to say, because he says that Devin Haney looked like an amateur. Now, again, Gary Russell is a professional athlete, professional boxer, and he's exceptional at what he does. So he understands the sport of boxing. His father's a historian of sport. His brothers are in the sport. So he understands the sport. So his point of view is valid. I'm just giving you my point of view. But Gary Russell Jr. is a different type of animal. And Gary Russell Jr. is 30 years old now. So it's a difference. We're talking about 21-year-old Gary Russell Jr. with YURIORKIS Gamboa compared to a 30-year-old Gary Russell Jr. or a 25, 26-year-old Gervonta Tank Davis, and I believe Terrence Crawford was about 27, 28 years old when he fought YURIORKIS Gamboa. So let's just keep this all in mind. Devin Haney is 21 years old. That's a huge difference, and this was his first step-up fight. That wasn't Terrence Crawford's first step-out fight. This wasn't Gervonta Tank Davis. He had already fought Jose Pedraza. So let's understand there's a difference in age and experience gap. And once again, YURIORKIS Gamboa was able to survive against these guys who are looking to get you out of there. Devin Haney is looking to outbox you. There's a complete difference. But let's just listen to what Gary Russell had to say regarding this situation and Devin Haney's fight.
Devin boy. You did all this motherfucker talking, and you look like some shit. I swear to God, that was the boringest motherfucker fight ever. I don't know why people paid their money to see that shit.
So he said it was boring. He didn't understand why people paid their money to see it. So with that said, he says that Devin Haney looked like an amateur, right? He says, and this is the reason why they look to stay away from me. You understand? He stated that, now everybody sees why he wanted to stay away from me. And again, I'm going to say this again. Devin Haney is a kid, you understand, amongst these are grown men that have already grown into their physical strength. Teofimo Lopez is still growing. Teofimo Lopez is 23 years old, but he's still older than Devin Haney. Let's keep this in mind. You understand? So Devin Haney, his styles make fights. It's a whole completely different style for you to come in there and you to, to be looking to outbox a pure boxer opposed to a guy that's looking to knock you out and is ferocious. That's two different styles. So, styles make fights, and, it's a difference. It's a difference. So Gary Russell Jr.'s approach is more suitable to Devin Haney's because he's a slick boxer. But even Gary Russell Jr., is a power puncher. He packs more power in his punches than Devin Haney. So styles make fights. Again, I'll say this again. If you look at the version of Manny Pacquiao that knocked out Miguel Cotto, and then you look at Miguel Cotto, who fought Floyd Mayweather some years later, he gave Floyd Mayweather the fight of his life. One of the toughest fights in Floyd Mayweather's career. But when you put Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao in the ring, now Manny Pacquiao ferociously knocked out Miguel Cotto. He dropped him. He hurt him a couple of times. He had him looking bad. He had him looking bruised and marked up and bleeding. Miguel Cotto had Floyd Mayweather vice versa. Floyd Mayweather still won the fight. Very close fight. But then you put Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather in the ring, and what was the outcome? Complete domination on the part of Floyd Mayweather, because styles make fights. So let's see how everything plays out. Devin Haney is willing to fight Gary Russell Jr. Devin Haney is willing to fight Teofimo Lopez, and Devin Haney is willing to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. So if he's such a easy out, let's stop talking and let's start making these fights. That's all I got for y'all. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed? Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to New Media. Shouts out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.